Let's be honest. Portland used to be the city everyone was moving to. Artsy, green, progressive, affordable. It had the whole package. In 2010, it was one of the fastest growing cities in the country. By the 2020 census, Portland's population had jumped nearly 12% in a decade. But since then, more than 30,000 people have left. That's right, Portland lost nearly 3% of its population in just the last few years. People aren't just moving out, they're bailing. Now, if you're thinking about moving to Portland in 2025, you need to hear this first. Because behind the mountain views and craft beer buzzwords is a city with real problems. Problems they've been trying, and mostly failing, to fix. So, whether you're relocating for work, dreaming of Pacific Northwest vibes, or just following that TikTok algorithm that swears Portland is underrated, hit pause for 5 minutes. We're counting down 10 brutally honest reasons not to move to Portland, Oregon. Got it? Good. Let's go. Number 10, the traffic that defies logic. You ever sit in traffic and think, there must be an accident up ahead, only to get there and discover nothing? No cones, no crash, no construction, just existential dread and 45 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Welcome to Portland. The metro area has about 2.5 million people, roughly the same size as Kansas City or Cleveland. But you'd think we were trying to commute out of downtown Tokyo based on the congestion. I-5. That's the freeway that tests your patience. I-84. More like, I hate this drive. And if you live on the west side, and you've got to cross the Willamette into downtown or the east side during rush hour, you better bring snacks. Rush hour doesn't start at 4 p.m. here. It starts at noon and somehow ends after 7. There's no beating it. And here's the kicker. Portland ranks 14th in the U.S. for worst traffic according to INRIX's 2024 Global Traffic Scorecard, despite having far fewer people than the cities it's up against. How? Because Portland's road system was built for the 1970s, and we never got around to fixing it. City leaders love bike lanes and pedestrian plazas, which is great unless you're in a car trying to turn left across 4 bike lanes, 2 bus lanes, and a food truck park. I've had days where it was faster to walk from Selwood to the Pearl than drive. If you're moving here from LA or Seattle thinking, smaller city, less traffic, you are in for the rudest awakening since that time you microwaved a burrito still wrapped in foil. It's slow, it's inefficient, and somehow it's only getting worse. Number 9, the earthquake time bomb. There's a giant sleeping monster under the ocean called the Cascadia subduction zone. And when it wakes up, it's not bringing you coffee and a sunrise. It's bringing a magnitude 9.0 earthquake, liquefied soil, and a 700-mile catastrophe zone that stretches from Northern California to British Columbia. Now, this isn't some maybe in the next century deal. The Oregon Office of Emergency Management straight up says there's about a 37% chance of a major Cascadia event in the next 50 years. That's higher than your odds of flipping a coin twice and getting heads both times. But unlike Japan, we haven't retrofitted the whole city to survive it. Nope. Over 1,600 buildings in Portland are still labeled URMs, unreinforced masonry. That means bricks, baby. Lots of them. Stacked, dry, and waiting to pancake. Oh, and those beautiful old-school bridges we love to show off in postcards? They were built before engineers understood how lateral shear forces worked. Translation: they're toast. Water mains, gas lines, electricity, all vulnerable. You might go weeks without help if the big one hits. FEMA even ran a simulation a few years ago where Portland ended up largely cut off from the rest of the state. And yet, locals act like it's folklore. Yeah, the big quake, whatever. Except it's not whatever, it's whenever. And when it does go down, you won't be laughing about your artisanal sourdough starter anymore. You'll be trying to light your stove with a paper clip and hoping the bottled water you hoarded in 2023 isn't expired. If you want to roll those dice, sure. But maybe think twice before parking your life directly over a geological booby trap. Number 8, smoke season is the new summer. You used to hear Portland summer and think festivals, food trucks, hikes in the gorge, kayaking under blue skies. Now it's more like, hey, is the sky supposed to be orange today? Every year, wildfire smoke rolls in like an uninvited party guest who brought all the humidity but none of the chips. And it's not just once in a while. In 2023, and again in 2024, Multnomah County issued multiple air quality alerts, some of them stretching for over 10 days. In 2020, we had the worst air quality in the world. Worse than Delhi, worse than Beijing. That's not hyperbole. It's data. PM 2.5 levels soared past 500 AQI in some neighborhoods. That's don't go outside unless you have a death wish territory. Now sure, the fires aren't usually burning in Portland, but the smoke sure is. It drifts down from Washington, up from California, and blows in from Central Oregon. Suddenly, that backyard BBQ turns into a lung assault, and even your indoor air purifier's wheezing like it just ran a marathon. Schools have closed. Kids can't go to recess. Outdoor workers get sent home. And don't forget your poor pets. Dogs are out here walking with N95s, metaphorically speaking. What used to be a rare inconvenience has become an annual season. Some locals even refer to it as the 5th season. You've got fall, winter, spring, summer, and now smoke. If you're moving here for clean mountain air, you might want to bring a couple HEPA filters and a case of eye drops, because you'll be squinting through a sepia-toned haze for weeks every year. Number 7, downtown's identity crisis. Once upon a time, downtown Portland was the city's calling card. A lively, progressive, walkable, weird and proud mix of indie shops, art galleries, and street musicians playing didgeridoos while on rollerblades. Now, it's more of a mixed bag. There are days where it feels like it's bouncing back. New restaurants opening, food carts buzzing, people grabbing coffee at Stumptown. And then there are days where you step around broken glass, dodging aggressive panhandlers, and wondering if you just walked onto the set of a post-apocalyptic Netflix series. The pandemic didn't just hit downtown Portland. It punched it in the throat. Businesses shuttered, offices emptied, tourism dried up. Then came the protests of 2020, which spiraled from peaceful demonstrations into nightly confrontations that left parts of downtown looking more like Gotham City than the Rose City. And while, yes, it's been years since then, the scars are still healing. As of 2025, about 40% of downtown storefronts remain empty or boarded up, according to the Portland Business Alliance. City leaders have pledged revitalization. There are cleanup crews, grants for businesses, and all sorts of urban renewal jargon. But progress is uneven. For every street that feels safe and alive, there's another block that feels abandoned and twitchy. Tourists still ask, is this it? Locals still debate whether downtown's comeback is even happening. It's not unlivable. It's just inconsistent. And if you're banking on downtown Portland as your new urban oasis, prepare for a bit of cognitive dissonance, because it's not quite dead, but it's definitely not what it used to be. Number 6. Political fatigue is the city's mood. Let me tell you something. If you like your politics served up with a side of rage and a never-ending casserole of hot takes, Portland's the buffet line you'll never escape. This place isn't just politically active, it's politically obsessed. City council meetings here have more drama than daytime TV. Neighborhood forums turn into ideological cage matches. And no issue is too small to start a 3-hour debate and a protest outside City Hall. From banning gas leaf blowers to renaming schools, to debating which kind of compost bin is the most inclusive, Portland will argue about anything and everything until the wheels fall off. And don't think you can avoid it by staying quiet. Silence here is taken as a position. The city's so divided on key issues, homelessness, policing, urban development, that every choice you make, even where you get your coffee, feels like a political stance. They even argued for months over putting up public toilets, with activists yelling about the symbolism of urinals. Meanwhile, crime's up, businesses are struggling, and a good chunk of Portlanders say they don't trust city leadership to fix any of it. In a 2024 citywide poll, only 27% of residents said they believed Portland was on the right track. The rest? Exhausted, disillusioned, just trying to make it to Trader Joe's without being handed a clipboard and a manifesto. If you're moving here thinking the Portlandia vibe is still alive, quirky, goofy, left-leaning fun, you might be disappointed. What you get instead is a city constantly at war with itself, where ideological purity tests are everywhere, and decision-making feels like it's stuck in molasses. It's not politics, it's performance art, and it never ends. Number 5. The tax man comes from every angle. Okay, let's talk money, because you're going to need more of it than you think. Portland's the kind of place where you'll hear, but there's no sales tax, like it's the golden ticket to financial freedom. Spoiler alert, it's not. Because while, yes, Oregon has no sales tax, Portland makes up for it with a labyrinth of income taxes, property taxes, regional taxes, and special use fees so dense they should hand you a CPA with your lease. Let's break it down. Oregon's state income tax climbs all the way up to 9.9%. Then Portland adds a 1% tax for supportive housing, a business income tax, and Multnomah County throws on another layer just for fun. In 2023, a report by the Tax Foundation ranked Oregon in the top 5 for highest state income tax burdens, and Portland specifically is one of the most heavily taxed major metros without a sales tax. You thought California was bad? At least their state knows how to maintain a freeway. Portland charges you $150 a year just to own a car in the city limits, and then uses that money to build speed bumps. Property taxes are deceptively moderate, but skyrocket the second your home gets reassessed. Even your utility bills get slapped with a Clean Energy Fund surcharge that was supposed to help the planet but mostly got tangled in bureaucratic knots. Want to recycle that mattress? That'll be $60. Oh, and good luck calling it in. Half the customer service centers only respond to emails now. The result is death by 1,000 fees. So sure, you won't pay 7% at checkout. But by the time tax season rolls around, you'll be wondering why your bank account looks like it's been through a war zone. Number 4. Property crime is practically a local sport. You want to know the unofficial city slogan? Lock it or lose it. Because here in Portland, Property crime doesn't just happen. It's expected. The city's car break-in rate is so high, some locals don't even bother locking their doors anymore. They just leave a note on the dash that says, "Nothing to steal? Please don't smash the window." And it works, sort of. Portland ranks among the top 15 major U.S. cities for property crime, according to FBI uniform crime reporting data, with car prowls, bike theft, and garage burglaries leading the charts. Catalytic converter theft was basically a pandemic of its own from 2020 to 2023, with people jacking them in broad daylight in grocery store parking lots. It's slowed down since, but only because cops and scrapyards finally started cracking down. And don't expect the police to swoop in and save the day. In 2024, the Portland Police Bureau had over 100 officer vacancies, and response times for nonviolent calls averaged over 22 minutes, if they even show up at all. Victims are often told to file online. Translation: tough luck. Meanwhile, bike theft is so bad, there's a dedicated Reddit thread for tracking stolen cycles. You can even find them listed online being sold in the same city. Property crime here is like the weather. It's just part of the landscape. Lock your doors. Buy a club for your steering wheel. Install motion lights, security cameras, and get to know your neighbors, because you will get hit eventually. The only question is, how bad will it be? And will your insurance believe you this time? Number 3, the drug problem isn't just visible. It's a warning. Let's not sugarcoat it. Drugs are not just a problem in Portland. They are practically a subplot of daily life. The state's 2020 decision to decriminalize small amounts of hard drugs under Measure 110 was billed as revolutionary. We're going to treat addiction as a health issue, not a criminal one, they said. Great idea on paper. In reality, it turned into open-air fentanyl markets, needle piles in playgrounds, and the kind of street scenes that make tourists clutch their pearls, and locals just look the other way. You don't need to go into the rough parts of town to see it. Walk through downtown at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, and it's not uncommon to see someone slumped against a wall mid-overdose while families walk past holding ice cream cones. Businesses have been screaming for help for years, especially around places like Old Town and parts of Burnside. In 2024, the city finally tried to reinstate criminal penalties for drug possession. But by then, a whole ecosystem had already formed. Rehab centers are overwhelmed. Outreach teams are underfunded. Narcan use is so widespread that security guards at Safeway carry it like it's hand sanitizer. And here's the darkest part. The rest of the country noticed. Portland was once synonymous with quirky donuts and indie coffee roasters. Now it's a cautionary tale on cable news about what happens when ideology runs ahead of infrastructure. Recovery rates? Better, slightly. But the public side of drug use? Still in full display. You're not just witnessing the results of bad policy, you're living in them. And unless you've got a very strong stomach and a very thick skin, it wears on you fast. Number 2. Homelessness is everywhere, and it's not what you think. This one's hard to talk about because it's not just about tents on sidewalks. It's about people. But the truth is, Portland's homelessness crisis is massive, visible, and deeply complicated. At its peak in 2023, Multnomah County recorded over 6,200 people unhoused. In 2024, that number dropped slightly to around $5,000, thanks to some aggressive sweeps, funding for shelter beds, and new policies. But the visibility? Still jaw-dropping. You'll see tents under overpasses, along the spring water corridor, on median strips, in public parks, and sometimes just in the middle of the sidewalk. And before you say, well, that's every city now, let me stop you. Portland's geography, green spaces, trails, liberal policies makes it uniquely attractive to unhoused people from other states. And guess what? They come here. A 2023 audit of service centers found that over 30% of unhoused individuals receiving aid were not originally from Oregon. The city does spend money, over $250 million annually, between city and county, but it's spread across dozens of disconnected agencies and programs. Translation: lots of cash, little coordination. People blame the city blames the county blames the state, and the people sleeping on benches? They're just stuck in the middle of a broken machine. Some are addicts, some have untreated mental illness, but a growing number, fully employed and still sleeping in vans. A school teacher living in her car. A FedEx driver living in a tent. This is not some sensationalist nightmare. This is the daily reality for thousands. It's not about judgment. It's about scope. And if you're thinking of moving here, just know, it's not just a humanitarian issue. It's a visibility issue, and it changes how you interact with every corner of the city. Number 1, the cost of simply existing. And finally, the heavyweight champion of regret. The cost of living in Portland is absurdly out of sync with reality. Look, Portland was never cheap, but there was a time, not long ago, when it was the affordable alternative to Seattle or San Francisco. That time is over. The median home price in Portland is hovering around $525,000, and that's down from the crazy highs of 2022. Want to rent? A one-bedroom averages $1,800 a month. And if you're not earning at least $75,000 a year, you're probably flirting with housing insecurity. Groceries are up, gas is up, water bills are up. And utilities? Let's just say, Portland General Electric likes their yachts. Then there's childcare, pet care, parking permits, recycling fees, and the increasingly expensive cup of local coffee, which, by the way, now costs $5.25 at most downtown shops just for a basic drip. And it's not just about what things cost, it's about what you get for those costs. High taxes, crumbling infrastructure, unpredictable schools, and crime rates that scare off national retailers. In 2024, Target pulled out of several urban markets across the country and almost pulled out of downtown Portland. Not because people weren't shopping, but because operating here is so chaotic and expensive. Meanwhile, your wages? They're lagging. Portland has one of the largest gaps between median income and home price in the Pacific Northwest. People are taking second jobs just to cover basics. Moving here now is like joining the party after the good beer is gone, the band already left, and the host is passed out on the porch. If you're coming here for affordability, you missed the boat. And what's left is not a sailboat. It's a sinking one.